All right. Hey.
How y'all guys doing?
Great.
How you doing?
Very good. It was fun
Looking
last
nice
night.
today.
Thank you.
Nate?
All black everything.
Rocking.
What happened?
You'd have let me know. I would have, you had to tell me. We just went through this.
You can switch seats and you fit better than me.
Stop it, man.
The shine, Pop, you got the sheen on the shirt. I see it. I see it.
All right, here we go. We are here for Addicted to Film, which is the show that we have. This is Travis Hopson.
What's up?
Nate, Gina, great job with the film.
Thank you.
You want to tell me about your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Tim Gordon. I love this film. I just want to start off by saying the film is being received very well. Apparently, I came in toward the end last night and caught the audience reaction. Saw it initially with you guys in New York.
Yeah.
What is it, I guess, how does it feel? First, Gina, I'll ask you, and then Nate, you can answer as well. After all of the time it took you to kind of like put this project together, you finally get it out there, and it's so warmly received. How does that make you feel, and does it validate all that time that I always tease you that's between every movie? Yeah, and then Nate?
Yeah, it's surreal. It really is, because one, just writing this, it took me 2 years just to write it and get it down. Then to get it sold, everybody turned it down twice. And it's like I had this movie locked in my head, and it was so clear what it was and what it could be. And the fact that nobody was seeing what was in my head, it was, I mean, honestly, it was soul-crushing. And the only thing that got me through is I knew I needed one yes, and I kept picturing sitting in a crowd watching the movie, and just having that vision just kept me going. And so to sit like in New York was such an amazing screening, and yesterday the reaction to it here in DC, I mean, again, going from crying in front of your computer to people loving the flick it's everything.
Nate?
Were you crying too?
Yeah, it's anytime you work with Gina, it's going to be a good experience. And I'm not a watcher. I kind of do my job and walk away. But with this film, you can't help but hear the response. People seem to really love it, and I think that it's a testament to her hard work. And like you say, you talk about the time it takes between her jobs, but she takes her time. Right. And I think that we need more of that. We need more filmmakers that are saying, I'm going to make what I want to make and the way I want to make it, no matter how much time. I'm going to fight for it to be pure representation of my vision. And it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, the result is, it's undeniable, and that's why it's so easy for me to say yes to her for anything that she has available. It's like not too many people I'll say yes before the script, but she's one of them, just because she's a visionary, and I know she doesn't compromise, and she's earned the respect of her actors to the point where they trust her. She gives me a suggestion. I'm like, I know her vision, and I'm down.
I want to get back to something you just briefly touched on, how the studios kept turning it down. But I want to ask you where your inspiration for the movie came from, first of all, because one of the things I really dug about Love and Basketball was that you told this really sweet love story in this little world that most of us don't really know about basketball. Most of us don't really experience it like that. Don't have that kind of talent. Just don't do it. And here you're setting it in the world of music. So what was your inspiration for this particular story?
Well, definitely all my work has some autobiographical element to it. Loving basketball, I grew up playing ball, and so a lot of that was me. And this film too, it was really touching on some things I was dealing with personally. Everyone is struggling to find their voice at any age, and not being able to express yourself, I think, really can kill you inside, and that's really an aspect of Noni. Also, as I was doing this, somebody very close to me tried to commit suicide, and that's a big element within this film, and really wanted to deal with the fact of somebody that changed their mind, and that's what happened with my family member, that they did change their mind, and luckily in enough time to be saved. And the fact that they now have such a better life, and they couldn't see it before, and that's really the story of Noni as well, that she was in this moment where she was ready to give it up and couldn't see a future, and thankfully she got pulled up and got to have that future. So I love to get that message out. And then just wanted to do another love story. I mean, I love love stories. I don't think they're being made enough. And music films as well. Some of my favorite music films, Lady Sings the Blues and The Rose and Walk the Line. So to be able to put all these elements, my personal issues I was going through, plus writing something that I wanted to see. That's why I love writing and directing, because you get to do what you want. You get to make a movie that you'd like to see.
Now, Gina, you know at some point when Nate becomes like a bona fide leading man, people will point back to this movie.
Not
And it's
already?
like, no, well, again, I personally love this man's talent, and I think that you and I talked about this last night, and I think that there should be way more opportunity for you than what you received. But I loved watching you in this movie, and you talking about you love stories.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, will there be a love story that's written from a different perspective where we can showcase this gentleman here? I didn't want to put you on the spot, but
No, I mean, it is true. I mean, when I saw Great Debaters, I was looking at Nate thinking, I hadn't seen him before. Who is this guy? And I thought that he was our next. And there's certain kinds of films that blow you up to, you know, that Will Smith status, and it's action films and love stories. And Nate has done really great work in really good movies. But I am hoping that this catapults him to that leading man status, and it's deserved because he sets a new bar for young black men in this film, and the chops are there. So I do hope that this catapults him, and then hopefully he'll still feel the same way that I can pick up the phone. And suddenly it's like me.
oh no, Gina who?
Well, you and I have had this conversation before, and I've had it with other people about your career. That we look at you as sort of like Denzel Young style,
Young Denzel,
you know,
yeah.
and we've been a lot of people have been saying that, at least around me and him. How does it make you feel to get those kinds of comparisons?
You know, anytime your name is in the same sentence, you're not mad at it. You know, listen, I take it, what I take from that is that I'm making the right choices. Mm-hmm. You know, if you look at Denzel's career, there's nothing in me that wants to be him or be like him.
Right.
However, if you look at his career, he's been so careful in the jobs that he's taken, and even in working. He always said, your career is defined by your first, 5 films. Mm-hmm. And it's never by the movies you say yes to, it's the ones you say no to. And I've always believed that. Like you said, it's something Gina always says. She says people don't discriminate against her; they discriminate against the choices she makes when it comes to the demographic she wants to highlight. I think the same is true for me. There's a lot of opportunity. I could do a lot of jobs. I could do 10 movies a year, but we wouldn't be having this conversation. And you definitely wouldn't have said what you just said. Right. Because those jobs are things that I'm not interested in. It's a very, very specific and narrow path that I'm trying to take, and it comes at a sacrifice. I don't do 6, 7 movies a year. I'll do 2 movies a year, but they will be the 2 that I wanted the second I saw, and I fought for them tooth and nail. But then there'll be like 16 that I say no, thank you. And so I think that legacy is really important to me. I never want to have to explain to my kids I did this because ... Right. I want them to look at the screen and be like, man, that's my props. And go to school wherever they are and be proud of the movies that I've made.
Is that a commonly shared belief in Hollywood?
No.
Okay, I just go continue. I knew it.
It's really not. And that's the thing, though. You gotta understand. It's like when you say I'm gonna be an artist and you move to Hollywood. There's no welcome committee. There's no band. There's no drum line. It's just it's work. When you arrive, you're like, okay, this is what they're perpetuating, and this is what I want to do. And for most people, you're like, I'm gonna give it a year. If I can't do this, I'm going to do anything they throw at me. Or sometimes you just go out there and say, any work is good work. They put these things in your head that just are not the truth. And you see great talents flush themselves down the toilet because they take jobs that are so far beneath their talent level.
Because that's all that's out there.
Because it's all that's there. So your choice is to wait for the right roles and live inside of your means. Don't buy the fancy car, don't buy the fancy house, but say to yourself, this will be a slow burn. It ain't no sprint. Or you say, I'm just gonna go for snatch and grab. Like in those booths where the money's going and you just snatching everything, and then you stuff it in your shirt and it's done. Hey, well, I have some money in my pocket. And we joke, but a lot of people are in that situation because we don't have enough filmmakers that are willing to stand against those stereotypes. We have Gina, and Gina, like you said, when Gina says she's making a movie, everyone's beating the door down there because they know that the last one took forever because it had integrity, it was great. And so should she make more double movies? No, we just need more filmmakers that think like her. You know what I mean? And they're ones. I mean, Ava DuVernay. You know, what I mean, there a lot are emerging, but and I don't want to speak against anyone, and I won't. But I'll say some of our filmmakers are letting us down. You know, they'll explode on the scene with something so compelling and thought provoking, and then they go for the money, and then you never hear of them again. They lose their voice in the rat race of trying to make more money, and it's frustrating to the artist. But
I was looking at him because I was trying to get his attention because we're gonna talk about this on the show on Sunday. We gonna say some names though on Sunday.
You're allowed.
Well, to that end though, I mean, why do you feel like we see such a lack of African American romances and love stories, and you know, why do you think we see so few of them still nowadays? When you know they do well when they come out, but why is that still the case?
No, that's the thing. They are being written. There are the filmmakers out there that want to make these films. That it's just the opportunities are not there.
Who's writing the check?
I mean, the reality is the majority or all of studios are run by white men, and they're greenlighting the things that they want to see or identify with.
That's right.
And despite the fact that, as you said, when our movies come out, the majority of the time they do well and they make money. So it's kind of continually proving ourselves. But the key is one, to just keep fighting. I mean, again, this took a very long time to get made, but I was passionate about it, and that kept me fighting. And it just takes others to keep fighting and not go the easy route. But there's no reason they shouldn't be made. Because, you know,
Final question, because I can feel him breathing behind me. Gugu, I saw her earlier this year in Belle.
Yeah.
180 degrees. The first 15, 20 minutes watching this movie, we were sitting there like, wow, she's special. What did you see in Gugu? And I'll ask you first. What did you see in Gugu to cast her in this? And then Nate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, when I met Gugu, it was 2 years ago. So Belle, she hadn't even shot Belle yet. She was just an actress that came in for the audition, and it was written in an American accent. So actually, an American. She had American accent, and she did the audition. It was one of those great moments as a director where I literally saw the movie as she was talking, and was so excited. She just has this innate vulnerability about her. You know, you just want to watch her. And then she had to sing Blackbird by Nina Simone as part of the audition. I was like, oh God, please, please tell me you can sing. And she rocked it. And once we then sat down and started talking about the film and her connection, she started talking in that British accent, and it just seemed so much more interesting suddenly to me. And changing the character to British really opened up a lot of things with the script. And then the fact that she went to RADA, I mean, she has got chops and dove into all the research. This is not her world at all, and when you have a chance to interview her, you'll see. I mean, she's very proper British, and just had to, she just jumped into this world both feet in and gave herself to the part. It is a very, very bold performance that she gives. I mean, she went there and she trusted me, which was great, and trusted Nate, and it's up there on screen.
Yeah, she earned it. I mean, never for a moment. You know, it's interesting because I talked to Gina about this. I'm 34, so I'm always 10 years older than everyone I work with because I'm always playing 10 years younger. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't always get to work with like trained actors that are mature, that have reached a level of their adulthood where they're so, you know, they have their feet rooted in what they want to do. You know, a lot of times I'll be in the movies with guys that are just, you know, they're 22 years old and they're having fun, you know, they're doing their thing or whatever. But she showed up ready to work from rehearsal all the way.